So fourth time's the charm when making this video? But that's not what you're here for. You're here for the truth about shooting film in Hong Kong. Okay, let's start off with this disclaimer, just as I've had to do with my other videos. When it comes to the truth about shooting in insert country location here. I don't live in Hong Kong. I've traveled to Hong Kong. I have, however, shot film in different countries around the world, and I have a fair amount of experience when getting it both developed, but also when it comes to buying film or buying cameras in certain places. And I have a reasonable amount of experience where I can relay to you what it's like to shoot film in a particular place. I won't have the same knowledge as a local photographer, but hey, if local photographers want to go out and make a video, I'll go ahead and watch that and learn from it too. Now that being said, Hong Kong might be my favorite place in the world, apart from my own country, to go ahead and shoot film. And there's a couple of reasons why. First of all, there is a high number of small camera stores. And for what there is, they provide a decent array of services and product. During this trip, I didn't get any film developed, as I've done previously on my other trips. However, that being said, I did look at what it was like to get film developed in Hong Kong. The prices seemed pretty reasonable, and the different kinds of developing that you could get was in abundance. You could get C41, which is, standard fare. However, if you note from my Truth About Shooting Film in Japan video, getting black and white done consistently at a variety of labs that you can come across. In fact, I almost found it impossible whilst I was there because most of the labs didn't have black and white developing, or they just were going to take forever. However, in Hong Kong, that doesn't seem to be the case. Most of the labs seem to have quick turnaround times, and pretty much every store that I went into, they had black and white development. Now, when it comes to your more specialized development like ECN, which is very common in places like China, Hong Kong has it as well in abundance. Pretty much most of the stores that I went to had ECN development. So if you're like a bulk roller, pretty fantastic for you. You can go ahead and just bring your bulk rolled film and get it developed. Or, maybe you can find ECN film there as well and just get it developed and you just don't have to care with security. But whatever way you want to do it, the point is you can, and it seems to be pretty easily available. And the turnaround times I think were pretty much the same as everything else when I saw most of what the stores were displaying as their services. Now, one of the things that I really liked shooting whilst I travel is slide film. And slide film, as I will note again in this video, as I did in my Japan video, was incredibly difficult to get developed in Japan and a little easier in China. However, that being said, there was only one or two labs that I found whilst I was there that would develop slide film easily for me and easy as a foreigner. In Hong Kong, however, that is not the case. Most of the labs, most of the stores, including the bigger ones, have slide film as part of their packages that they develop. And again, the turnaround time seems to be the same. So that's cool. That's fantastic if you are like me and like to get slide photos shot just like these ones that I've gone ahead and shot whilst I was over there. I didn't get them developed in Hong Kong, but the point remains you could get them developed there. So that's a really cool thing about shooting in Hong Kong. If you want to shoot whatever you want to shoot, you can. And then you can just go ahead and get it developed. And pretty much you don't have to go to most of the stores, from what I could see, provided that service. Now, I won't just talk all glamorous and say everything's perfect there. There is some things that you're going to struggle with, and one of them is finding stores. Some stores, or should I say most of the stores, are not traditional storefronts that if you come from the West that you might be familiar with. A lot of the storefronts are, up these smallish apartment buildings and you going up several flights of staircases, and a number of them don't have elevators, and also they're like hidden inside buildings. This is what I found also in China, so it's not that much of a difference. It's just a little harder to find than, elsewhere from my experience, just to keep that in mind, but it's still not that difficult. But if, say, for example, you are a little less abled, you may struggle to be able to actually use some of the stores simply because they don't have any alternative means of getting you to the store. There is only a staircase, and some of them are quite narrow as well, so you will struggle with them if you do struggle with staircases. So when it comes to how well the store stocks film, that's a bit hit and miss depending on what time of the year you go, supply shipments, but also, everything post-COVID has kind of just been, messy and a bit all over the place. But from my experience, Japan was a bit hit or miss. I mean, reasonably stocked, but not extremely well stocked like you would believe. When it came to China, it was a number of stores were extremely well stocked, especially in Shanghai. However, in Hong Kong, it's pretty well stocked. Some stores definitely better than others, but what you do have is some stores seem to specialize in what film stocks they choose, and other stores don't necessarily tell you what film stocks they have. And that can sometimes be a bit of a problem. So sometimes you just need to reach out to the stores and just say, hey, do you have XY film stock? And they will come back to you and let you know if they do. So that's something that is quite, a little bit of a problem, but for the most part, it's generally a positive experience. I found quite a few film stocks and other things that were there in some of the stores that were above what you'd find in even some of the most specialized stores that exist. Now, talking about one downside of shooting film in Hong Kong, and this kind of goes for anywhere that's a bit more humid. Some of the stores, for whatever reason, don't fridge their films, and that can be a problem. So I had some rolly infrared, and I bought a fair amount from one particular store because they had a decent amount of the black package rolly infrared, and I had heard some rumors that the new blue package rolly infrared isn't the same film stock and might not be as sensitive as the older black packaging, but that's for another day. But I digress. With that in mind, I bought a number of rolls. Now, they were only 2 months expired, and what I shot, I was very surprised to see what I got. And what I got was a thing called, actually, what is it called? Let me just read my notes for a second. Oh, it's a thing called motting. And with motting, what it is that the paper back just sticks onto the film. And it is usually caused by humid conditions. So if the film had been fridged, that wouldn't have been a problem. However, for 2-month expired film, you should not have anything wrong with it. Like, even 2-year expired film will generally behave near enough unnoticeable to the photographer or anyone's eye compared to like the normal film before it's expired. However, what I got was pretty hit or miss. Some of the rolls were okay, but a fair number of the rolls did have this motting. Now, luckily for me, it didn't affect the overall sensitivity of the film or how the film behaved, other than having these annoying white dots in throughout my photographs. But that was just okay because I was using the film mainly for experimentation for a series of videos on shooting rolly infrared. However, it would have been nice not to have had the photos ruined in case, whilst I was shooting my project, I actually took a good photo and wanted to actually do something with it. Instead, if I did have a good photo, I would be by hand removing on Photoshop little bit by little bit by little bit by little bit by little bit, which just is basically turning an image away from what it actually was, even if I'm just removing ugly little white dots from my photograph. So keep that in mind, that sometimes there might be issues with the stores, And if your intuition says it's a little humid in here, there's not good ventilation, and the film isn't fridged, probably don't buy it. However, if the store has it fridged, you're probably okay. But probably ask them just in case how they got the film, just so that you don't get anything that is too surprising. Now, most of the stores have old cameras, but they don't have a huge supply of them, so just keep that in mind. Like, they have old cameras there, and they're resellable, but like everything else, it could be hit or miss. From my experience going around, traveling and buying cameras, it's not necessarily a whole wonderland. You are taking a risk, but I mean, it's no different from going to your local store, going to a market, or just getting stuff off eBay and having it delivered. So just keep that in mind. But you do see a few cool cameras out there, but don't go running out the door thinking that, oh, there's going to be every kind of cool camera under the sun that you wanted. There isn't. But most stores have a few cameras for sale. However, if you are wanting to go and get a new camera, you need to go to SimCity. I wish I had more footage of this. This place was stacked full of cameras, and there were some really cool ones, including a Beta 3. And if it wasn't a factor of spending more money and I already didn't have gear that was kind of covered, I would have probably bought that camera. There is some really, really cool cameras there. Don't expect like cheap or, insanely good prices. But, if you're looking for a particular camera, you might find it there. Treat yourself, especially if you're on holiday, right? Now, if I had to mention two stores that stood out, first one is Showa. Showa has 2 locations, and of those 2 locations, I think I went to both of them. They're reasonably easy to get to. The staff are incredibly helpful. In fact, I even left my tripod there and they looked after it just fine, and I went back and picked it up. They have pretty much everything that I explained earlier, all the different kinds of developing. They have a decent amount of film. They do have some film that they don't put on their website, and all you need to do is just message them and ask whether they have it, and they'll quickly get back to you and let you know. So do keep that in mind, but they were a really good experience, and if I was getting film developed, I would probably go there in the future myself whenever I go next back through Hong Kong. And I've heard from a few local friends that essentially they are pretty good. So that's store number 1. Now, store number 2, on the other hand, is probably the best film store that I've ever been to in terms of what the hell have they got, because they have stuff that just other stores don't, and also what they provide. So when it comes to what they've got, all the fancy cameras that you want, the Hasselblad X-Pans and other cameras like that, a decent camera collection. They also have just a serious amount of film, and including a huge amount of 4x5 film just stacked in their shelves. Shanghai, Provia, some Velvia, some other stuff. They have, everything that you usually can't find at any one location. They have most of it all in just the one location. They are a bit weird to get to because you have to go up through a building and then through a long hallway and stuff like that. But I digress. They were fantastic to deal with. They provided pretty much every service that you could, and they had a decent amount of film. In fact, my partner spent probably about 1,000 plus New Zealand dollars on film for me for my birthday. So yeah, they had a decent amount. I'm a guy who already had a lot of film, but I had a lot more that I wanted to pick up from them. So yeah. Now, what they also provide is something that is wholly unique that I've never seen before at a film lab. Super 8 hiring and developing. So when you get Super 8 film, and in particular, I'm going to use New Zealand prices here. So some cameras are $120, some cameras are $40. So let's just say you pick up a Super 8 camera for about $100, right? And then you need to test whether that camera works. So you're going to pay another $100 for the film. And then you're going to pay another $100 for the developing. And this is kind of a very rough estimation. It can be that 300, or it can be closer to 400 if you include postage and everything else. Because Super 8 development, only one person here does it in New Zealand, and you have to know them. Otherwise, you have to send it off to Aussie. So if you pay for Super 8 development here, it's going to be $300 to $400 to know whether that camera that you've bought secondhand actually is any good. Or what you could do is, when you're in Hong Kong, hire one of their cameras, which should be working, and ours did, and you pay for the film, which was at a pretty good price. I think it was about $80 New Zealand, and then you pay for it to get developed, which again I think was about $50 New Zealand. I can't remember the exact prices, but it was still pretty reasonable. And we got both Ektachrome developed and bought and shot, and Tri-X reversal bought and shot. So there was also black and white reversal as well, and we got both of those done. And when you hire the camera, it's for 10 days. And if you want to go above that, you just need to pay some extra, which is what we did, because we took it for about 14 days as we were going from Hong Kong into China, into the mainland, staying in the mainland for the New Year's festival, and then coming back. But I digress. I never have come across a film lab that provides this service. It is really, really cool. And it was a really great experience to be able to just capture those memories and actually shoot some Super 8 without potentially the long-term cost of buying one, or even just not even the long-term cost of buying one, just actually buying one and testing it. So it was a pretty darn good deal. So for that, I would 100% recommend Panda Camera for all of those reasons. They are a little bit harder to get to. You have to travel quite a bit further on the metro, but not that difficult to get to. So I would recommend it, especially if you're a 4x5 shooter, because they have the 4x film that I was looking for there, and they had quite a bit more than that. Now, one of the cool things about Hong Kong is the fact that it is condensed. It is very easy to travel around, and that makes it great to photograph because, you know, some places are very, very flat, big, and just expansive, but there isn't actually that much to photograph. There isn't much variety. In Hong Kong, you can quickly be up a mountain looking over the city, or you can be down by the waterfront, or you can be in a particular location on a particular street where there's just interesting things happening, or, you know, there's just different places to go to, different places to see, and there's quite a bit of variety, so that's really cool. Now, one of the things that Hong Kong is noted for is, of course, the neon lights. And I would say, if you want to go ahead and shoot in Hong Kong, don't leave this as like, I'll do it in 5 years, because those neon lights are disappearing fast. A lot of the lights I did see weren't neon lights. They were these LED lights, you know, just like everywhere else. But the neon lights of Hong Kong are iconic, and the ones that you can see are often around a particular area along this bridge. So I'm lucky that I've gone ahead, shot photos on 4x5, got decently large negatives that I can use as display pieces, and actually captured a piece of history before it disappears. So if you would like to do that too, I'd recommend going to Hong Kong sooner rather than later and finding all the neon lights that you can and photograph them, and potentially I recommend photograph them on slide film because of just the fact that the way it looks. But I digress. Do not leave this for 5 years from now, because they probably won't exist by then. Okay, so I'm going to end this video in just a moment. I hope this gives you a quick overview. I'm not a local photographer, and if you are a local photographer, comment below if I've missed something. I didn't go to every lab, so, you know, I only know so much, and I only had limited time there. So just keep that in mind. But if you enjoyed this video, fantastic. Just remember, it is my anecdotal experience, but I would highly recommend going to Hong Kong if you're a film photographer and just wanting something different. It's a fantastic place to be, not just for, you know, photography, but the food, the vibe, and everything else. So, as always, it's been real, guys. Until next time.